JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. June 21st, 2024. Really quick pre-market rant. Have about 36 minutes to the open. Happy Friday. Talk quick about the markets, some of the names I traded yesterday, today, looking at, and go from there. But take a look at a SPY. Well, SP seemed like a big decline, only down 0.25% yesterday, but the first meaningful, I wouldn't say meaningful, but maybe the most, I guess the sign that, hey, maybe there's going to be some profit taking going on. So we'll have to see how today plays out. There's no catalyst yesterday, no catalyst today, outside of it's a monthly option expiration and monthly quarterly option expiration. So supposedly there's 5.5 trillion in notional value of options expiring today. Makes for great clicks and speculation. To me, the big thing would be the rebalancing. I think the XLK, one of those big ETFs, rebalances today, and supposedly Apple's getting dumped for NVDA, so they have to rebalance and get the position sizing correct based on how much the stock has gone up or down. So it's possibly at the end of the day, you could see some swings in Apple and NVIDIA. So that's something to watch. The big moves happen at the end of the quarter, and especially at the end of the half when there's rebalancing in a lot of indexes. And that's when you see those crazy moves at 345, 350, and you wonder what just happened to some of these names. And they just go either up substantially in a very short period of time, and the calls that were bidless go a couple dollars, or they go the reverse if you have the put. So something to watch. So some of the things, and I put it on the watch list this morning, the number of 50 days, the number of stocks in the S&P over their 50-day moving average is back on watch here and was trending in the right direction since the middle of April when it was down to 30%. Up here at 52.5% of the names are over their 50-day moving average. So I want to see that continue to trend in the right direction. Good thing is there's room for more names to be over their 50-day, right? You want to see 70, 80%, then I would say, hey, maybe we're in an overbought situation. Right now, there's only 52%. But on the flip side, that means only a small portion. There hasn't been you want to see all the names rising with the market, and there's been not as many, select few, NVIDIA, Apple, so on and so forth have been pushing the market higher, and the breadth of the market rally has not been that strong. So you can take it both ways, but just want to see that head in the right direction. And then the small caps, which has been disappointing. I keep talking about wanting to see those start to break out. Looked like they were going to do it yesterday. IWM was over 200. The biotechs were moving with Gilead, and then it reversed course, closing down nearly 0.4%, and still under its 200-day moving average, back under 200. Want to see the IWM start catching a bid here today into the weekend would be nice. So some of the names here, in Gilead was gapping. It was almost $74 in the early pre-market hours. Their HIV prevention shot, 100% phase 3 study, 100% prevention. Huge news. It's almost like if you look at Gilead, it was $80 at the start of the year, $84. It was almost like it just needed a kick in the butt. I talk about these large cap biotech names that just haven't really done much recently, besides a name like Regeneron. But Gilead, maybe this, I looked at the chart while it's going. Someone posted, I don't know if it was sit up in the chat room, and I started looking at the chart. I said, wow, this is going to go into the 70s. So I went and got some strikes, some July calls. I'll look to close some of those out at the open just to cover costs, maybe a little profit depending on what those open. I mean, they're going to be over a double, I would assume. Did it close over a double? I have to go look. And then I think they were double yesterday when I was talking, right? I apologize for that, folks. Yeah, they're over a double, right? Sorry about that. No. I was looking at the wrong strikes. No, they closed flat. I was looking at 72.50s yesterday. So that's Gilead. Uh, so I'll continue to hold those for lock some in and then hold the rest uh, for more upside. Plenty of time on the July strikes. And if you pull back the chart, there's tons of gaps. The gap from, I don't know if it's earnings or there was some kind of analyst note, it dropped from 84 down to 78 back at the end of January. So has some gaps to fill on the way up. Dell, lots of headlines yesterday. You had Elon Musk talking about Dell doing half of their service for XAI. You also had a positive Wall Street Journal article. The stock gapped higher, ran all the way up to 161 and change after the open. My June strikes, which I pretty much wrote off, came back to life. Actually, they were green. So I didn't want to be in a situation, number one, where the stock reversed and I lost those profits. And number two, I wanted to be able to get some more July strikes. So I closed out the Junes for some profits and then roll those into July 200s. Then the stock sold off 161 all the way down. Hit 140, 146, hit somewhere in there. Still bullish on the name. And the thing is, when I got to 200s, the premiums are going nuts, regardless of where the stock was. I think it was even in the 150s. So that's a good sign. I think it heads higher. This whole theme, at some point we have these pullbacks, these resets, and then onward and upward. So still love Dell. I'm not going to add anything just yet, unless it has some serious strength. Maybe once it breaks 170, I'll start looking later strikes. But they're very expensive now, so that's why I went and got the Julys. That's Dell. lamresearch I talked about yesterday in the afternoon rant. I'm just looking for put hedges. The 548 area on the SPY was the Bollinger Band. Once that broke, I just didn't want to be a situation where I have no protection. And you can see the reversal in NVDA, right? The biggest market cap reversal of all time, right? Another great headline. But that was yesterday. So it was pulling back down the whole sector. lamresearch, I was looking at Broadcom, and Broadcom sold off yesterday as well, and it's down here in the pre-market. But the premiums are insane. So even to try and trade that, the risk reward based on weekly strikes just don't jive for me. So I went and got the lamresearch inexpensive puts. The thing is, if it just drops 2 or 3% before lunchtime, the puts will be up a couple 100%. So that's kind of the thought process there. At the same time, it gives me the ability to hold calls and not have too much worry. If the market does pull, at least I'll be able to offset some of those losses, or hopefully all the losses, with if it's a decent pull. So probably a name, I've done a puts on it before. Once Broadcom premiums start to come in, I'll probably look for that as a hedge going forward. But that's why I added those. I'll continue to hold that. HPQ, both flags still setting up. It did close down with the rest of the market over 1% yesterday. Still like that one for upside into the 40s. Not going to add anything more just yet. I was looking at 43s and 41s into the fall. They're kind of pricey. If those come down, I'll look to get some of those. AMD. So AMD is not a name I've traded, similar to Apple. I haven't traded Apple in years. And I guess the reports that the cybersecurity breach wasn't as bad as expected, or they didn't get a breach or whatever. And I don't even know if that was the true catalyst, but the stock just started going bonkers. And you have all these people, and, back in the day, it used to be AMD and Intel used to be the big fight, right? Who had the best processor, blah, blah, blah. And now AMD, it's rallied substantially, but now it's almost like people are saying AMD could be the dark horse in this AI battle with NVIDIA, right? I mean, NVIDIA rules it, but maybe there's some opportunity here. And I mean, stock was already in the 200s back in March. Not a name I've traded before, so I'll have to do a little more due diligence. But I was watching yesterday and I said, this thing might go to 170. So I went and got some strikes. They were weeklies. They want to see those, turn into the red. So they were green for about 8 minutes. And then once it started to reverse, I closed them out flat. Don't be surprised if you see me add some AMD strikes at some point. TERN, it's actually out of the upside channel. So it needs to get over 720 or so today just to, or maybe even Monday. But hopefully if it just stays flat today to resume its uptrend. But still bullish at that on that name. And then last but not least, there's Spotify. Spotify's been churning since it hit that 330 spot at the start of June. I think it's ready to take off. Looked like it was going to go yesterday. It was up in the 317s before the market pulled back. Today, hopefully into the 320s, and my spec calls can come back to life. Don't be surprised if I add some strikes into next week. Typically, what happens when my options expire on a Friday, the next Monday, they're in the money, right? That's typically what happens. I'm not saying it's going to happen here with Spotify, but I want to be in a situation where either there's some kind of news catalyst or it breaks out a little bit today and then there's continuation on Monday. So don't be surprised if you see me add some of those. Oh, the Chewy strikes. I got some July strikes. I may continue to look to add some positions there because I think at some point either there's going to be some kind of GameStop investment, there's going to be some filing, or there's going to be shenanigans with the GameStop crew that's going to start piling in the short interest. I think there's a recipe here for Chewy to head higher over the next couple months. So pull back yesterday. I forgot the calls with the rest of the market. I think this story is just gonna gain steam, and it's going to be 30, 35, and so on. So I'll continue to look for opportunities to play Chewy for upside. I was looking at Celsius yesterday. It just doesn't look strong. It was up 8% the day before, and then it just couldn't hold those gains yesterday. So still watching that one for upside. And that's about it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.